Are we live? Yeah. All right. Cool. We're live. So, welcome back to another edition of the Night Report podcast. As always, I'm your host. Well, I'm not your host. I'm usually your co-host. This is weird. No Mike Broadbent today, so I'll be your host, Richie O'Leary, and joined today by Alec. How do I say it? Krauthamel?
Yeah. Mike knows how to say it.
I'm not the host. I'm not used to this stuff. I got to read ad read now too. As always, our podcast is sponsored by Knight and Day Apparel. Get ready for football and tailgating season with Knight and Day Apparel. Our apparel is designed to keep you comfortable, stylish from the pregame excitement to the final whistle, whether you're grilling in the parking lot or cheering in the stands. Our high-quality gear has you covered with unbeatable comfort, team spirit. Score big this season and keep chopping with Knight and Day Apparel. If you do go on their website, use the promo code Rutgers Rivals. You get a nice little 10% off the site. A ton of different Rutgers gear. I think you actually spotted a couple different blackout T-shirts from Night and Day this past night. I don't even know. Yeah, it's already 1 a.m. So, so let's dive right into this thing, man. 1 a.m. Just got home. That parking lot is hell getting out of, no matter where you parked. But
I mean, you were in Scarlet, I was in Blue. It was pretty bad for both of us.
Yeah, no, not ideal. I don't think I got from my car to River Road until about 40 minutes, and that's what. 50 yards maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the blue lot, and same thing about 50 yards as well. I texted you at 12:25. I have escaped to the blue lot. I don't remember when I first got there to my car, but yeah,
no, definitely a rough one. So let's talk about this game, man. What a win for Rutgers. The football gods are on their side for the first time ever, maybe.
Feels like it.
There were some crazy things that went on throughout this game. Washington shot themselves in the foot about 5 different times, which was hilarious to watch from our standpoint. But if you're a Washington fan, I could see you being very angry, punching a TV, throwing stuff. Like, it was just a rough overall day for Washington. But yeah, no, I mean, I guess what are your just original or your thoughts? And it's late. Work with me here. Bear with me here.
I mean, I think you hit it on the head. Washington shot themselves in the foot continually. Yeah. Rutgers was outgained 521 to 299. It felt like they had an edge in the second quarter when they really started to get things going. Then Washington just clawed their way back into it. Will Rogers played like the best quarterback that Rutgers has faced all year long. Yeah. Denzel Boston was excellent throughout the game. 6 catches, 125 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He made play after play. He was great at the catch point. And then, I mean, in the run game as well, the Rutgers run defense really struggled. Jonah Coleman made a bunch of big runs. And it wasn't even just he ripped off 1 or 2 60, 70-yarders. He was getting 15, 20 for a few different carries as well. So he basically kind of did what Kyle Monangai did as well. He had a pretty good game in his own right. But, yeah, I mean, it just came down to they were not able to execute in the red zone. Rutgers played the epitome of a bend but don't break type of game. Yeah. I mean, again, 521 total yards and you only score 18 points. Not to toot my own horn, but this game kind of went how I predicted it in the staff prediction article that came out this morning. And not to toot my own horn, but kind of nailed this one. I also said Kyle Monangai was going to go for over 100 yards and a touchdown, and Sam Brown was going to score a touchdown, and also that Will Rogers was going to throw a lot in the air, but it just didn't execute at the right times, and kind of happened.
Yeah, I mean, credit to you, man. This Washington offense is potent, though, man. I know they lost like almost everyone, but credit to Jed Fish for hitting the portal and doing whatever he had to do to just get this team to where it is. They are a very good team still in their own right. How they lost to Wazoo, I don't really understand still. Even today, like the numbers game was highly in their favor. Like the offense had 300 passing yards, 150 rushing yards from your running back, 42 more rushing yards from your backup running back. Like, they had a great day, and I mean, Rutgers just played their style of football and ended up working out in their favor. Like I said before, the football gods were completely on their side, because how often does a freshman run on the field when after a blocked field goal? Like, I get the excitement and stuff, but what a turn of events that was.
That swung the game, basically. I didn't know who the illegal substitution was on that blocked field goal. We saw afterwards, not after the game, but like later on in the game, that was on someone who ran onto the field. Also, side note, the guy that blocked it, I don't remember who it was. Instead of picking up the ball, he started celebrating, and it probably could have gotten a return. Obviously, it didn't matter anyways because of the penalty. And then the very next play, Ethan Kaliakmanis finds Ian Strong in the back of the end zone for a touchdown, which, by the way, beautiful throw and catch. Kaliakmanis put that ball right where he needed it to be. and then Strong extended fully. I mean, at high pointed about as good as you can.
Mhm.
That was just a beautiful pitch and catch. And it was the only touchdown that Ethan threw. He only threw for 115 yards, not one of his more effective days, but it made sense because, like Greg Schiano said coming into this game, Washington was going to throw a lot of different things at him. Steve Belichick, the defensive coordinator, he threw him a lot of different looks, but he still got the job done. He didn't turn the ball over either. That was the big thing. And they were able to do just enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking through some of my notes right here. The first quarter, obviously, it's the first quarter of this season that Rutgers hasn't scored in. That's interesting, I guess. The two targeting calls, what the like? It would start the game, and it's just so I don't even know what you can constitute targeting anymore, just because they'll call it on like on like the most outrageous thing in the world, and then they won't call it when it's pretty blatant.
Yeah, I mean, we were on that opening drive. We were basically, I forget what we were on the first one. We were still on our way up from the field level because we watched that intro. We can get to that in a little bit as well.
Yeah, of course.
We were walking up from the field level. We finally got to the press box at the first targeting review, and we didn't really see what happened. It was on like the center, I think they called it on.
Yeah.
And then the second one was on Rutgers' first drive, and then it was I tweeted out, like, I hope we're not already going to start doing this for the entire game, because they didn't look like that egregious of hits either that you would have whistled for targeting like right away.
No, not at all. Just looking through some of the stats right now. Ethan started out what, 0-4 or 1 of 4, something like that. He really couldn't get anything going early on. Struggled a little bit. It was mostly, I think it was that Chris Long catch, and I think that was Chris Long's only target and catch for the day. Was that 19-yard catch, and then they kind of just took it down the field with the run game. Run game was superb. They did it again. Kyle Monangai, I know everyone. I shouldn't say everyone. When we were sitting in the press box, I think I said this to you. I'm watching him run, and it's like, he's so close to breaking one, and so close to breaking one. He's so close to breaking one. Eventually, he ends up breaking one. But yeah, I mean, I just thought this was a solid day. This was your typical Rutgers team. This is how they're going to play football. They're going to run it down your throat as much as they can, and then they're going to try to complement the pass game a little bit. But it's all defense in the end. And I thought Harris Simiak actually called a pretty decent game until the very end, where they gave up that late touchdown. I thought overall they were throwing different things at him. We were talking about the 3-3-5 they were throwing with Abram Wright out there to try to stop the run a little more. Yeah, I thought it was just a really good game, but there's so many things that they have to fix still.
There are, yeah. The one thing that stuck out in particular was the run defense once again. I mean, we talked about this coming in, especially after Virginia Tech. And, I mean, I think Mike had the observation. It was either you or Mike or probably both of you that had the observation that the linebackers were not exactly in the right spots that they needed to be in. And we noticed that a few different times where they kind of either took the wrong angle or just weren't in the right spot or got blown up on the line of scrimmage. Yeah, I mean, that needs to improve. And again, it's Jabome and Walker. I mean, they're two newer guys to having starting spots and starting snaps. So that's kind of going to come with the territory. They both have really good traits in athleticism, but it's just, getting them in the right spots. It's still a work in progress for them.
Yeah, I saw a couple times, and I love Moses Walker's abilities. I think they have very high ceiling, but you can kind of see why he's a backup currently. To Jabome, but even Jabome had his issues. Walker whiffed on a bunch of different tackles, took the wrong gaps. Jabome got caught taking the wrong gaps a couple times too, and it just resulted in big chunk plays for Jonah Coleman. Jonah Coleman's phenomenal, by the way, very good back in his own right. He's in the upper echelon of the Big Ten, in my opinion, at least for this year. But yeah, no, I thought the defense, other than the rushing defense, I thought overall no sacks. That's kind of a little bit of a concern, but they did get some pressures on Will Rogers. I thought Eric Rogers had a pretty good game. Speaking of Rogers, I thought he had a pretty good game. I thought there were moments where Desmond Igbenogson had a good game. Flip Dixon was kind of quiet. I feel like we didn't really talk much about him. But overall, I mean, a win's a win, right? At the end of the day, it wasn't the prettiest win by any means, but that run game just really carried the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, a win is a win is a win, and Rutgers is 4-0 for the first time in 12 years. So
it's crazy.
Crazy to think about, especially considering they have gone 3-0 the last, I believe, 4 years in a row now, and then they were just never able to get that fourth game, that first conference game. Usually it was. Yeah. So I guess what else do we want to get into so far? I'm still recovering from all that.
Yeah. Let's see what else I got written down. Really bad start to the second half. I know they looked pretty solid in the first half. The second half was 3 and out, 4 and out, 3 and out, and it's like yikes, like ugly start. And I feel like they also had that start kind of at the beginning of the game. Like that first drive was 3 plays and out basically. I feel like they just get off these cold starts and they really can't get things going. And once they do, they find their rhythm. They're great. They just have to find that rhythm a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that Shiano talks about a lot, and a lot of coaches talk about a lot. It's the middle fours going out of and into halftime. And I feel like Rutgers has played very strong, especially going into halftime, the way that they've played. In every single game, I believe they have a score within the last 3 or so minutes in the first half. So it's just getting out of that and kind of starting off strong. They did pretty well last week on that first drive against Virginia Tech coming out of halftime. Then they weren't really able to, like you said, 3 and out, 4 and out, 3 and out. And that 4 and out, it was, you're backed up, getting the fourth down stop, getting the stand against Will Rogers, which, by the way, why are you pondering passing when you have 2 shots at the goal line, especially when you've run all over Rutgers so far? But that's a bit of a play calling issue. And then you get the fourth down stop, a bad pass by Rogers, and then Kyle Monungai pinballs off of 10 tacklers
that was
to
insane.
Get 40 yards, and then they ended up going 3 and out. I mean, that run was unbelievable.
Yeah, we didn't get to listen to it because we were obviously in the booth, but I re-listened to it on my way home of Devin Gardner's play or reaction to everything, and he's just freaking out the whole time. Like it was I've never seen anything like that, to be honest. And Ray was great in his own right, but I don't think Ray was breaking 10 tackles in a single play. And I know 10's exaggerating; it wasn't actually 10; it's more like 5 or 6, but. That was insane. I've never seen anything like it, and that's why they just keep talking about how Monungai keeps falling forward, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's 1 a.m, so like I said, bear with me a little bit. But other things I'm looking at: 4th and 1 on Washington's 49. Should they have punted? I feel like that's a big question mark there because you get that first down and you're in scoring range. You have a really good shot of putting up some kind of points there.
Yeah, I'm usually more aggressive than most people. I think you should go for it more than you shouldn't. That's just kind of how I view it. So I think they could have gone for it. I did find it interesting. I noticed right after Washington scored the touchdown, the 51-yarder by Denzel Boston. That was from Washington's 49-yard line, and you know where Rutgers punted? Washington's 49-yard line.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. I thought they should have gone for it, but again. It was good. It was not a bad punt. I mean, they backed him up to the 6-yard line, but Washington just marched right down the field. So I would have gone for it in that situation.
I'm in the same boat as you. I know we talked, me and Mike talked about this last week, and it was a similar situation, but not exactly the same to the Virginia Tech game where I think they had the ball in the 43, 44 or something like that, and they ended up punting. And
I think that was 4th and 3 as well.
Yeah, that was 4th and 3. This one was 4th and 1. Like you should be able to get 1 yard, especially when you have Kyle Monungai doing what he's doing, and this is before Sam Brown's big run, obviously, but you throw Sam Brown out there. He's massive. He's able to break tackles too. You can get 1 chunk yard out of him real quick.
Heck, put him at fullback or something.
That's what I was thinking about that too, actually. What else we got? Special teams was meh. I thought they obviously blocked the kick, so I didn't. If you told me that Washington was going to block a kick, I don't think that I would have guessed that one. But
although if you would have told me that Washington blocked a kick and it got called back because of a penalty, I probably would have believed it.
Yeah, I still can't get over that. That is such a crazy moment. And that freshman is going to get reamed. But I don't know. They have a young team, a lot of newcomers, so it is hard to it's hard to keep your excitement. But you just can't run on the field either. That's rule number 1 when you're not in the game.
Yeah.
Big tackle from Timmy Ward.
Yes. On that kickoff return, I believe it was right after the Sam Brown touchdown.
Yep.
It looked like the returner had a bit of space, and then Timmy Ward just shut that down. He's such a good special teams player. You can never say enough about what he does.
Yeah, no, absolutely phenomenal. Perfect wrap, perfect everything, and it might have saved the game because he had a lot more room left to go if Timmy Ward doesn't make that tackle.
He did. I guess we can look at some of the chat now to see what they're up to.
Let's see. Give me real quick. Injuries. Longer Beam and Felter both came back. I know someone asked that before, and we'll probably get to that. But yeah, let's go to this chat real quick. See what we got here. Mosito says, kudos to the student section. They showed up and stayed through the third quarter. They had that area packed. I had to stand to see the game. Hey, that's not a bad thing, man. That's a good sign. This was a great atmosphere. I'm not going to say it was 2014 Michigan like, but it was up there. It was a great atmosphere, second largest crowd ever in SHI Stadium. I think it was, what was it, like 50,000?
It was 54 tonight.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it was. 54.
I think the announced attendance was 54,079. I want to say around that level.
Yeah, gotcha. No, great atmosphere. And now the students, yeah, they stayed, but I think they only stayed because it was close. If it becomes a blowout, that's when obviously most of them are just like, yeah, I'm out here. Like, what else we got here? Jordan said, nightmare driving there, nightmare entering the stadium. Sad I had no time to try the food trucks on the boardwalk, but W is worth it. 4-0, baby. Yeah, I mean, huge win. Huge win. The food trucks are basically the same every week, so you can just get them next game. When is the next home game? 2 weeks? 3 weeks from now?
Yeah, Wisconsin,
yeah. That's a Scarlet out, by the way. I didn't even know that. I should have paid attention to that.
I don't really understand that because I distinctly remember going to Rutgers basketball games when I was a kid, and the ticket stub saying "wear red to the game." So I assumed that every game was a Scarlet out until told otherwise. But
yeah,
I mean that's just how to get the environment up, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. Speaking of environment, at some point we're gonna have to talk about it, but I think it's in the comments, so I'll wait till we get to that one. But interesting pregame show, for say the least. What else we got here? Here's a good one for you. Rutgers ranked after that. What do you think?
I see in my prediction, I said that they would fall short. They would get votes. I said that they would come in at 28. That was just me trying to be like extremely, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. It's like 1:30 in the morning. I'm trying to think. I don't know. It's just me being like extra to predict where they're going to stand in the rankings.
Yeah.
I think they'll fall a little bit short. I don't think that Virginia Tech Miami game is going to have any like impact on it. That was a crazy game, by the way.
Insane.
Yeah, we were trying to find out what the heck was going on while it was happening. It was a whole thing. I don't think it'll have too much of an impact. I don't think they'll get ranked. I think they'll fall just short, but you never know. It just takes a few different people to put them in, and you never know.
Yeah, it's tough to go from no votes to ranked. I'm just looking right now at some of these teams. Like, let's see, Army's not ranked, right? And they just had a big win, so they'll probably get some votes. It really depends on what happens with this like lower half. Like Boise State's at 25 and Washington State's 26 in receiving votes. So one of them is going to drop down automatically. Texas A&M and Arkansas, do they lose? Kansas State's playing Oklahoma State. It's really dependent on what happens with these bottom, like I want to say 5 or 6 teams. Illinois is playing Penn State. If they get a loss, do they just drop out completely after being 19? It's close, maybe. I don't know.
I think it's like if they get blown out, I think they fall out.
Yeah. Auburn, Oklahoma. Auburn's fresh off a loss. Oklahoma's fresh off a loss. Another loss, does that bump them out at 21? Maybe. And then it really depends on these receiving vote teams. Like Boston College has a lot of votes, but they're not going to have their starting quarterback this week, so something to monitor. Nebraska's right there, who might be ranked again if they win. I don't know. It's really dependent. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen. They'll definitely, I will say with a guarantee that they will get votes, but I don't think they'll be ranked. They'll be very, very close. I'm going to say like 28, 29-ish when it comes to
that's what I said.
The vote category. So. What else we got in here? Got to tighten up on those 2-point conversions. Yeah. That's kid was wide open. Like
the last 2 weeks, really. That's been the thing. Like I think Benji Gosnell for Virginia Tech had both of them last week too, and it was just the simple underneath routes. For tonight, I forget. I think it was Latu was the tight end who was wide open in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happens when you play zone coverage, and especially at the goal line where there's less room to, I guess, it shrinks the field, which could be an advantage for the defense because the offense doesn't have as much room to work with. But at the same time, it also leaves some more open gaps. So, yeah, they definitely have to tighten that up. I also think that Brennan Carroll just called a pretty good game as well. He called a lot of tough plays, and I thought Will Rogers did a really good job of just putting it on target. There was one throw in particular where he had, I think he was throwing right over the outstretched arms. I forget if it was I forget if it was a linebacker or one of the safeties, but he just layered the ball perfectly.
It was Tyree, I think.
I think it was Tyree.
Yeah.
He just layered it perfectly. He's a really good quarterback, and he was the best Rutgers.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
He's the best quarterback that Rutgers has faced this year. Tough to say if he will be the best one that they'll face all year, but he'll definitely be, I think, in the top 4, I would say.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Him, Raiola, Van Dyke's out, UCLA's trash. Miller Moss is pretty good. I like Brosmer from Minnesota. I just don't think Minnesota's good. Yeah, you know what? He might be like Altmaier's pretty good. So top 3. I'd say top 3.
Even Childs might be up there too.
I'm indifferent on him still.
Yeah,
I want to see what else he can do.
He's game to game inconsistent. So
yeah, no. Will Rogers has proven it at the SEC. Now he's proving it in the Big Ten. I think he's just that's a damn good get for them, and it's a really good get for them because he committed to Washington before Jed Fish took over. So
he committed to Kalen DeBoer, and then he committed to Jed Fish.
Yeah, left and went in the portal again, and then came back. Good for him though. That I'm telling you, man, they got some really good transfers. That's a damn good Washington team. You got to give them their props. They're going to be a problem this year, and I actually thought they were going to struggle in year 1, but Jed Fish is a great coach, and I thought Belichick called a pretty good game. I thought Brandon Carroll called a pretty good game. Like, you got to give him some props. What else we got on here? Any obvious key injuries? I think it was just the 2, right?
Yeah, as far as I can remember, it was just those 2, Felter and Longreen. But like you said, both of them came back.
Mm-hmm. They should be fine. Some other guys are not fully healthy. You saw him get dinged up. Like Wesley Bailey at one point walked off gingerly. Flip Dixon did the same.
I think Eric Rogers did too.
Eric Rogers, yeah, towards the end. It's just bumps and bruises mostly. But Chris Long got hurt too, but he was just a cramp, and I'm pretty sure he came back in too.
Probably, I think so.
I don't remember if he did actually, but that one was definitely just a cramp. You could see them just like he's basically sitting up, like not even like complaining or anything, and that's kind of like a key sign when watching the guys that go down. Because if you saw the one Washington defensive tackle went down and starts punching the ground, that means it's got to mean something pretty bad.
Yeah.
What else we got here? Shiano screaming at Moses Walker. It's kind of basically what we said before. He just wasn't really hitting the gaps. He whiffed on a couple tackles. And a couple of those whiffs were one of those, 1 or 2 of those big rushing plays from Jonah Coleman. Jonah Coleman? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's late, like I said, or early. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a problem. It's got to get fixed. It's got to get cleaned up. Now, Jonah Coleman's one of the better backs they'll face this year. So it's not super concerned. I mean, it's definitely concerning. I don't even know how to not say it's not concerning, but they just it's going to come with reps, I think. And you don't have like Motu ready to come back in and fill that gap. So you need Jabome and Walker just to get more and more reps and just continue to learn the game, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. What else are we looking at in the in some of the either Twitter or YouTube
too, if you want.
I can't highlight them, but I can read them. I know that.
Okay. Let's see. He was getting in Reem and Kaj's face too after the long touchdown. I don't even know what that one's about.
I think that was the Denzel Boston touchdown where he just kind of got it over the middle and then sprung free.
Oh yeah, he's got balls, man. As a punt returner, a kick returner, he just didn't. He was going out of his way to catch these, and it's like, dude, don't go near that one.
Yeah,
like if you saw Dremel going after that, everyone would be screaming and be like, "Oh, don't!"
Dremel already has great hands.
I know. His hands are phenomenal, though. I give him credit. What else we got? We need to clean up the field goal unit. I think we kind of touched on that.
Well, part of that was, I believe, I think that was after Felter got hurt, the blocked field goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dante Chuna come in, and he had a couple of unfortunate reps, which, I mean, it's going to happen whenever you bring him in for the first time. He hasn't really gotten a ton of playing time yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to happen. He had a couple of rough ones. I think he might have also someone might have gotten past him on the field goal unit too. I will say I thought Jay Patel, other than the block, obviously, looked good in his rebound from whatever happened against Virginia Tech, where he missed a couple of kicks. And I will say I don't think Jed Fish set up Grady Gross very well in those last couple of minutes.
That's nice.
He had no choice but to throw him out there. He had never hit a 50-yarder before, but at the same time, like, I feel like you got to be a little bit more aggressive in going down the field.
Never hit a 50-yarder before. 0-2 on the day. It's just like
I think he was 1 for 3, but yeah, he'd already missed 2 kicks.
Oh, you're right.
I think he made one earlier.
Did he make one? I
think
completely forgot that one.
They,
yeah, you're right.
They scored on their first drive.
Yes, you're right. The very first drive, which was, what even was that? That was a 20, not even a 20-yard field goal, right? Because that was they were close to the red zone, if not in it.
I think they were in it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, where am I looking? Field goal. Here we go. Field goal from Rutgers 4, because Rutgers held them. That was a great goal line defense too. Kind of cool to see Timmy Hinspeter out there on defense. Cool and bad, because that means that your other linebackers are not doing their job. So you saw him come out there. You saw Abram Wright play some significant snaps. Not a great sign. But I do want to go back to that Dante Chin thing real quick. 22 snaps on the year, 28 last year in total. So yeah, you're spot on. He just hasn't really played that much, and I'm a little shocked they went to him over like a Reggie Sutton type, who's more of the reliable veteran. Shedrick Rhodes has played guard at where the hell was he? Green School in the Midwest. There we go, the MAC. Ohio. He played some guard there. Also played tackle there. So I'm a little shocked they went to Dante Chin over everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder for Chin and Sutton. They mostly played the right side, so I wonder if they don't want to put them on the left. I don't really know.
Yeah,
I feel like with offensive line, you could go either way, but again, we're not in that room. We're not working with Pat Flaherty, so you never know.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say it was unfortunate because Felter, again, I mean, this entire offensive line has been remarkably consistent and remarkably good as well. Thankfully, Felter was able to come back in. But yeah, a couple of those chin reps were not great, which, I mean, you don't really expect someone to be, lockdown Quentin Nelson type when you're coming in a spot coming in for your starter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely he got burned a couple times, and actually a few plays in a row, really. So but yeah, I mean, gotta keep that offensive line healthy.
Yeah, it seems like they are, just because Felter came back in the game. I can't imagine you throwing him back out there if he's not ready to go. Even at 75, 80%, like, you still throw him back out there. They only gave up 1 sack though, but they did give up a couple QB hurries. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I thought the offensive line actually did pretty solid today. They created some holes, made some running room for Kyle Monangai, and then you see that one step gone, and that's prototypical Kyle Monangai status. But what else? Tight end Kenny Fletcher had a decent day. They started using him a lot more, and they had one really bad drop though, man. Hit him in like the hands, and I think he just wanted to turn too quickly, and just
he would have had probably about 15 yards on that too if he brought it in.
Yeah, it's a shame. What else we got in this chat? When are we going to block a kick again? That's a great question. I don't even think they got close today.
No, they got close on 1 punt, but other than that, not really.
Yeah. It's just luck of the draw. I thought I think teams are starting to prepare for it a little more now too, because Rutgers is so well known for it under Schiano. So I think it'll happen. You just got to give it time. Someone's gonna miss an assignment, miss a block, and someone's gonna break free, and you'll see Eric Rogers or Bo Mascow getting one of those blocks, I'm sure. Was wind a factor? I'm assuming this is in regards to the field goals. No, there was really not much wind today, at least from what I can tell.
Yeah, the flags weren't really moving all that much on the goalposts. Maybe it was like with the rain. I don't think there was much wind. I think their kicker just had an off day, I think.
Yeah. Hey, favorite topic. Here's the one I really want to discuss. Light show was pretty nice. That's a generous way of putting it. A lot of hype for the same cell phone show I've seen a million times. I thought the Rutgers video was good. That was pretty solid. The light show, it's just like we've seen this before. It wasn't anything different than previous ones. I thought the halftime show was pretty cool, but other than that, it's typical. Like, you see it at a lot of stadiums now with the cell phones and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused. I believe the line coming into the game was get in there by 7:30 so you can see what everyone's going to be talking about or something like that. I forget what the exact line was. I forget where that came from too. But yeah, we were on the field waiting for like something amazing to happen. And it was cool. It was really cool. But it wasn't anything that we hadn't already seen. I will say the Dream On video montage.
That was great.
supposed to be unbiased, but even that got me a little like hopped up. I was ready to run up those stairs, but there were people on the stairs. But yeah. I thought the halftime show was really cool. I thought having like the dance team, the cheerleaders with like the light up suits and the band with the hats with the lights on them. I thought that was all really cool. I think they work in the fact that it's a blackout game, and then also contrasting it with the light. I think they work with that really well.
Yeah, no, that works out really well. I think those black uniforms are just sick too. They need to wear them more often. I know a lot of people are going to complain and say, no, they're the Scarlet Knights. They're not the Black Knights, like Army. They're just like, come on. Like, they are sick uniforms. Like, wear them more often if you can. Yeah, that's all I really had to say on the light show. I was just a little disappointed, put it like that.
We were live for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Looked like a lot of empty seats on TV. I don't think so. I think when the game started, it was definitely a little bleak in terms of like the corners filling in and stuff. But I know you have some connections in the student section. They shut that down way before kickoff.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the student section was. We talked about this already, but the student section was.
Yeah.
It was in a very good spot, and a lot of the basketball guys ended up showing up too. Like I saw Jeremiah Williams, PJ Hayes, Emmanuel Ogbole, Michael Davis, and Ace Bailey were down on the field level with us, and I think they went into the student section at one point.
Mm-hmm.
The student section was great, and they stayed. That's the big part. Now we talked about this already, but yeah,
that's
the biggest part is like them staying. Now, me, I don't think I have left any game early in the past like 5 years.
Yeah,
so I'm a little bit different, but
built different. That's why we're doing a podcast at 1:40 in the morning.
You can say that.
This is an interesting one. Don't rank Rutgers to give Nebraska motivation. I don't think they need motivation. I don't think it matters either way. I think it just looks nice that there's a number next to the program's name, and for Greg and guys to go out there and if they do get ranked, to be able to go out there and sell it to recruits and be like, I told you I'd do it again. And look at this. Now we're 24 in the country, just say hypothetically. What else? See anything else on here that we haven't answered yet?
See, I'm looking a little bit farther down. I saw my dad putting
this one. Hold on. This
I also noticed that.
I texted our group chat as soon as it happened, and they're like, Mike, love the podcast. I'm like, I don't even look like Mike.
I was going to say, I don't really know how you make that mistake without having a couple,
more power
because that means that you know what Richie looks like because you watch on YouTube, and you also know what Mike looks like, but you mix up I don't know. It happens.
It's crazy.
Anthony, we appreciate the support at the very least.
Now, here's an interesting one. Jabome was sick today. I cannot confirm or deny. I don't follow these kids on a daily basis to
I
find
think by sick he meant like he was like sick as in like the good kind.
I hope so. But he had some issues too. I mean, he had a ton of tackles. Don't get me wrong. He had out of his 10 tackles, what do you have? Fucking 6 in like the first like 2 drives.
I think so. Yeah, I pointed out. I think it was the first drive. I pointed out he had 4 tackles.
Yeah, that's yeah, I think that was the first drive. Actually, yeah, you're right. Actually, that was insane. But he only finished with 10. I'm a little shocked by that, but that's just because they were rotating. They were rotating a bunch of guys on defense. The defensive line, and I think we can't just discredit the linebackers for the lack of a rush defense, but also the defensive line kind of got bullied a little bit. We saw Keontae Hamilton get put on his ass. We saw Malcolm Ray get shoved out of the play completely at times. That interior needs to be a little bit better, and I think that's why they were rotating so many guys. The first like 2 or 3 drives, I know I saw what I think I counted 5 or 6 between Malcolm Ray, Hamilton. I think Troy Rainey started, or he just came in on the second drive.
Zaire
Angoy, and I'm missing someone else because Sean Griffin also came in for a couple snaps. I think they're just trying to find a group that works. I know Malcolm Ray and Keontae Hamilton aren't probably going to lose their spots at any time soon. They're probably still the best of that bunch, but I do think going forward, these guys have to progress a little bit more. And that's where you kind of hope a guy like Zaire Angoy can just stuff the middle with his size in general and just kind of just eat space. That's all you got to do basically at a guy his size and his build. But yeah, they got to definitely clean up some there, not just the linebacker room, but the defensive line. And they gotta turn these things into sacks once in a while. Only one QB hit Is there any? Or is this? Yeah, only one QB hit. Really? Wow.
There were a couple of hurries. I know Aaron Lewis had a hurry at one point.
Yeah, I'm looking now. This doesn't have hurries on here, of course. Stat broadcast.
It only has QB hits.
Yeah, but one QB hit, no sacks again. Like they need to create sacks from this and just create more pressure on the quarterback in general. When you send 4, you can't just be sending like a blitz every time.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit of an issue. But what else we got in here? Joe McGrath's punching air right now. Yeah, I mean, yeah, not really any way to say that one. This is going to get brought up. I knew this was ever since Belichick was there.
He was in the yellow jacket.
Yeah, I think I'm assuming he's mean Steve Belichick as a good replacement because Steve's the DC of Washington. I don't see it happening. I don't see that happening. Bill's going to get an NFL job next year, whether it be the Giants or someone else. I think wherever he goes, Steve Belichick's going to head back to NFL with him. I'd be a little shocked if he didn't, unless you really like recruiting that much, which after talking to all these college coaches, I can tell you that no one likes recruiting.
Especially going from the NFL to college.
Yeah, no, you got to – I mean, coordinators don't have to do a ton of recruiting. Harris Simiak actually does a lot for a guy that is a coordinator. But, yeah, no, I can't see it. Will Joe get a head coaching job? I think it's only a matter of time. He was very close to that James Madison job until they hired Bob Chesney.
I'm sure they're happy with it too.
Yeah, I think. You put up 70 on UNC. But yeah, no, I don't see Belichick ever coming to Rutgers. To be honest with you, maybe if Bill doesn't get a job next year and Harris Simiak does get a job, maybe. But I highly doubt it. Let's see. VIP the fans selling out SHI and Fox. Yep, great job with fans. I see your dad. Yeah. Saying I should have stopped for some flank steak tacos, which are flank steak taco. I said that right. Wow, I'm tired.
They were very good.
Yeah, I know. You sent me the picture, and I should have, and I get caught up, and I'm getting cold mic, and yeah.
I'm sure that really threw you off.
It did. It threw off my whole day. Ethan is really accurate. He had some really bad passes today. I mean, they weren't interception capable, but they were also behind the receiver a couple times.
I think he's accurate in that it's going to be in the vicinity of the receiver most of the time.
Yeah.
And he gives his receiver a chance to make a play on it.
100%. That Ian Strong ball is probably the most beautiful thing I've seen on a Rutgers quarterback in – I don't even know how far back I have to go. I have to go pretty far. Gary Nova, right?
I mean, I will say that Wimsatt throw in the back of the end zone to Isaiah Washington at Michigan State last year, that was pretty nice too.
Yeah. That's the problem. Wimsatt had some like really high highs and some really low lows, and it's just like you see the potential, and it never could figure it out completely. But Ethan needs to run more. I'm kind of anti Ethan running. I know he has the capabilities, but God forbid he gets hurt. I don't. The season's not what it should be. It's risky. It's just very risky.
Yeah. I did like that scramble that he had where the D tackle just broke containment and just left the middle wide open, and he just took advantage. That's I think that's the rushing upside that Ethan has. You can just run and get extra yards. So that's where I think for at least for the most part, I think that's where he should be limited to.
Yeah, and that worked out really well in that regard. And he knows when to run, which is always a nice trait. Let's see what else we got in here. Why did I know they'd make the 2-point conversion? I mean, I feel like everyone kind of knew that.
Yeah.
Soft coverage.
Also, there were a couple drops. We mentioned the one to Fletcher earlier, and then the one by Duff also probably would have been a touchdown if he caught
that
it.
one hurt, man.
Because the safety overcommitted a little bit and tried to hit him or tried to come up to hit him. And if he caught that in stride, he probably would have outran the cornerback and the safety and probably would have taken that for a touchdown.
Yeah. I mean, you keep looking back at all these things, and I get like the yardage and everything else. Like the stats say this should have been Washington's game, and probably should have if it wasn't for stupid mistakes. But, I mean, Rutgers did well. They did really well. But there's a lot of moments where they could have done so much. Like they could have scored a lot more too. That's the thing. that 4th and 1, the Corey Duff drop, the Kenny Fletcher drop, those things turn, and then all of a sudden, boom, maybe Jay Patel hits that field goal. It's a totally different game too in that aspect, because now you're not pushing for points. You just need to. I don't know. I'm overthinking it now, probably a little bit, but I just thought, I thought they could have won like by a lot more. The little things like that could have changed the whole game. But yeah, overall, like I said before, a win's a win. I feel like we talked about Sam Brown, but we really didn't give him a ton of credit. Like, that was a great run by him.
That was an excellent run.
I need to see if I can find this photo from, who was it? Andy Mills, I think it was.
Yeah.
He posted this photo of Sam Brown mid-play, and it is incredible. How do I share something on here? Is it this present thing?
Yes.
Share screen. I mean, look at this. Like, this is ridiculous that he somehow is able to keep his balance after breaking a tackle, and then he's falling. He's not even like, it's like a, what was a geometry back in the day? That's like a 45-degree angle. No, that's not 45-degree.
It's about, I would say it's like a 60-degree angle.
And look at, and he's able to keep his balance after that and running for a touchdown. Like, that was incredible. That whole run from him.
It was. He just burst up the middle too. Like, the way that he was able to just slam through the hole. I mean, it was very impressive, and not something that we've seen from Brown in the past year, because he was still working back from getting over that injury. And I think we saw flashes of it last year. And then in the pinstripe bowl, we started to see him look a little bit more consistent with it. And then this year, he looks fully back to himself. Yeah.
No, it was phenomenal to see him there. I know he missed game 2, I think it was. He was on the
he missed the Akron game.
Yeah. It was a previous foot injury. Foot injuries are tricky. I know after talking to some people, one guy said that one guy told me that it's 1 week he's great, the next week it hurts a lot. The next week it's great, and the next week it hurts a lot again. It's a tricky foot injury, but when he's out there, man, the potential is, he's through the roof potential wise. He has NFL qualities, NFL size.
He was the RB1 2 years ago as well, and then Monungai kind of came through and has taken it ever since then. But he was the RB1 immediately after Sean Gleason got fired. I think a big reason why people wanted Sean Gleason fired after that Nebraska game is because Sam Brown wasn't getting the ball consistently.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, going into that 2023 season, everyone thought he was RB1. Like, no one thought Kyle was going to get the job, and lo and behold, Kyle took it over, and now he's a Heisman candidate.
Possibly.
I say candidate maybe. Hell of a game from him though. But what else we got on here? What a shuttle bus for game. Better take the shuttle bus for games instead of driving. I don't even know where the shuttle bus trained in New Brunswick, then walked. Oh, there's a shuttle from the train station to College Ave. I didn't even know that.
I know that there's a shuttle from the College Ave Student Center to it drops you off like right outside of Johnson Park, and then there's also the shuttle if you park in at Jersey Mike's Arena for like $30, I think it is.
Yeah, I had no idea. So who's going to Nebraska next week? It won't be me. You guys are sickos for doing it. Thank you, Adam. Did Chiano have a post-game press conference? Yes, that should be up shortly on our YouTube channel. If you're listening on YouTube right now, if you're not, go to our YouTube channel and go listen to it.
It's funny. Adam said that like 25 minutes ago, and we're still going.
Yeah, I just realized how old these comments are. Yeah, we got to get through this a little bit. Chin smoked. Yeah, we know Chin got smoked a lot. Linebackers always trying to tackle ankles. I think that's more of just a learning thing. I think I don't know. I think Jabome and Walker need to do better. There's no question about it. They struggled a little bit. And they're young. They're still learning. Like that's really it. Red Panda. I got to talk about that. It's the greatest. That's the best part about the game. Red Panda was there.
Her first football game ever.
Yeah.
And Rutgers was the lucky recipient.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how that one kind of came into.
Isn't she supposed to perform tomorrow as well, or today?
Yeah, today. Yeah, she's going to be at the Knighthood Showcase, which if you guys aren't going to, you're going to regret it because it might be your only chance to see these guys play basketball. Other than if you don't have tickets, other than going on SeatGeek and paying a nice little chunk of change for games. Because I was looking up tickets already. Home openers like versus Wagner, I believe. I think it's like over $100 already. So
it could be 80 if you use code Rutgers Rivals.
Oh, there you go. See, look at that little plug. First time for Red Panda. Hey, don't underestimate yourself. Great show. No mention of Steve. I think they mentioned it in the pregame, if I had to guess, because they were showing Greg shaking hands with Bill Belichick. They were showing Steve Belichick walk out with Bill. That was definitely mentioned at some point, but I just don't think it's as crazy as people think. I know it's Belichick, so of course everyone wants to bring it up and talk about it. But other than that, it's like his only connection to Rutgers, he played lacrosse and was a walk-on long snapper. But Steve's not Bill. Bill is legendary NFL Hall of Fame future. Steve is that guy who's his son.
He's a solid defensive coordinator though. At many levels,
I thought he looked good.
He ran the Patriots defense, I believe, in the last couple of years of him and Gerard Mayo were basically co-DCs towards the end of Bill's time in New England.
That's true. And you know who that DC was supposed to be? Well, technically not in title, I guess, but did he have the defensive coordinator title when he was there for 3 months, 4 months, whatever?
I don't think so.
I'm trying to think because I don't think Bill ever had a DC in title.
Because Gerard. I don't think Brian Flores ever technically had it. Neither did Steve or Gerard Mayo. He never really had a defensive coordinator, but he had like positional coach / like special defensive assistant or something stupid like that.
Something, random.
Yeah.
I guess before we sign off, because this has been going on for way too long. What do you call it? Next week, Nebraska, 4 p.m. kickoff, I think, FS1.
Yes, sir.
What are we thinking here?
It's going to be tough. I have not really thought this would be a win for a while. I still don't think they're going to win this game. I think it's going to be tough. I just think Nebraska, it's on the road, which I think is going to swing this game. Mm-hmm. I have to kind of check up on them more. I haven't watched a ton of Nebraska since that Colorado game. That wasn't really a great litmus test. I'll have to watch. Who are they playing tomorrow? I forget. Whoever they play tomorrow, I'll have to watch that game.
Purdue on Peacock.
Okay.
So
well, maybe that's not the best litmus either, but I will watch that game just to see. I am a bit worried about that game, so we'll have to see. I don't think Rutgers is going to win. I think it could be closer. But I just think the environment at Memorial Stadium, which is always fantastic. Raiola is not great, but he's very good for a true freshman.
Yeah.
And I mean, very impressive for a true freshman. I just think it's going to be a little bit too much for Rutgers to take that game.
It's interesting, because definitely Nebraska's home crowd is obviously at its top 2, top 3 toughest in the Big Ten. It is very hard to play there. Dylan Raiola, when pressured, kind of gets a little bit nervous, and you saw that versus Illinois last week when they went into overtime. They went into overtime in that one. They got 6 sacks on him. I mean, if you can force a true freshman to get nervous, get him uncomfortable, then you have a shot. Plus, their run game's not that good, and we know Rutgers' rushing defense is not that good either. So that's going to play in Rutgers' favor a little bit. But I'm intrigued. I think Nebraska probably. I don't even want to say that anymore, because I was like going back to like beginning of the season. I thought Rutgers was going to struggle in this one, but now I'm not really sure anymore, because I don't know how good they really are, because their lone like big win is against Colorado, who stinks, and they only scored 28 points in the first half. They didn't score a single point in that second half. They just lost to an Illinois team who I honestly don't know if they're good either. I know Altmaier looks pretty solid, but like their biggest win is against the Nebraska team, who I don't think is that good either. I don't really know how to judge this Nebraska team. I'm probably going to end up doing the same thing you are, and I'm going to have to watch this Purdue game tomorrow against Nebraska and see how they do, because this Purdue team's a little better than expected, but I don't know how much of a test they'll give them. Like, Nebraska really hasn't faced a good opponent yet, and that's where I'm like kind of indifferent. And they lost to Illinois, who Illinois plays a similar style to like what Greg Schiano wants to run, which is just take the lead and kill the clock, basically. But they have a better quarterback in Luke Altmaier, who might be like a top top 3 quarterback in the country, right? Or in Big Ten right now.
No, I was going to say that would have been a little bit much.
Yeah, no, not the country. I meant Big Ten. Yes, he's been phenomenal though.
Yeah.
I think that's their issue. They could lose a game like that. Now, the fact that it's at Nebraska is concerning, and that's going to be maybe a little bit of a difference maker. It's going to be close. I really don't know where to go with that one. That is going to be very, very close. But let me ask you this, because me and Mike did this last week. What's your prediction on that spread?
Well, I was watching the post-game show after Virginia Tech, and when that question got asked, in my head I was thinking about, I think my first was 3.5 or 4.5, and it ended up being about like 2.5, 1.5. I think the final line was like Rutgers -1.5.
Yeah, drop down a little bit.
I think it'll be 4.5 in favor of Nebraska if they beat Purdue handily, I guess. If they win by double digits against Purdue, I think it's a 4.5 point spread.
I was going to say 5.5 because you got to give them that 3-point bump for being home.
That's true.
And then
I could see it within that like 4 to 6 point range.
Yeah, I don't think they'd go 7 or more. I think that's too much. But I think it's going to be a competitive game. We'll see what Rutgers can do. We'll see if Lady Luck's still on their side, because it definitely had it out there today.
I think the biggest swing. Yeah, I think that biggest swing is. I feel like we're a broken record saying this every week, is going to be the defensive line against the opposing offensive line.
Yep,
as it has been the last few weeks.
Probably going to keep saying that every week, I'm assuming. But they need to win it up front, and that's the big question mark. I just don't know how good this Nebraska team is. I don't think they're that good, and maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But Dylan Raiola does look like a stud out there for a true freshman. So it's going to be interesting, because this is a Rutgers team that took on Virginia Tech and should have blew them out the water, honestly. And then it's a Rutgers team that had a chance to blow Washington out of the water, but kind of let them crawl back in a little bit too. It's tough. It's really tough to say what they're going to do, but we're approaching the hour mark, and I don't need to do an hour on this. But anything else before we really sign off? That's all I really got right now.
I mean, I saw someone say it. I saw someone say a couple things about, one comment that stuck out was, let's see, I'm trying to scroll back. I think it was the better team didn't win today. The better coached team won today, which I think I don't know if Washington's the better team per se, but Rutgers was absolutely the better coach team.
Yeah.
And I saw someone else say, I forget what it was. Well, now I'm lost. Actually, no, I did find another thing that I was looking at. Steve Leviton, I hope I'm saying the name right. Last year, there were 282 games where one team outgained another team by 222 plus yards. Every single one ended with team with more yards winning. And this year, Rutgers got it. And I'm assuming it's something similar. I'm assuming every other team that has been outgained by 222 yards or more lost.
I see it now. 282-1. That's a wild stat. Number one, I don't even know where you find that stat.
Yeah, shout out Steve. I don't know how the heck you find that, but wow, that's impressive by Steve.
That is a crazy one. But what else we got in here? Why did we fair catch the final kickoff? Could have burned more time off the clock there. It doesn't matter. They're gonna always do that,
especially with Dremel. That's just he's not gonna run it out.
We learned that last week, but all right, I guess that's pretty much it for tonight. It's 2 a.m. I'm tired. You're tired, I'm sure. It's like
that scene from SpongeBob. Who's up at 2 a.m. for Rutgers football coverage? And it's Patrick waking up. Oh boy, 2 a.m.
There's a solid amount of people still watching. There's 600 something people right now. Wow. We didn't eclipse all
600 something of you.
Yeah, you guys are loyal fans, but. If you haven't already, check us out on YouTube. The Greg Schiano presser's uploading. It should be done 5 minutes, something like that. That'll be on there. I'm sure we'll have another show on Monday, probably talking about recapping what Greg Schiano says in his Nebraska press conference. I don't really expect him to say a whole lot.
I'm interested to see if Mike's theory is true. If he says the numbers instead of names. I know Mike mentioned that.
Might be right. I'm intrigued to see. Yeah, you're actually right. I don't know what he's going to do. As always, if you guys have, if you haven't already, check us out on Rutgers.rivals.com. Free promo code for free 30-day trial, TKR30. Also check us or use our promo code Rutgers Rivals on SeatGeek, on Home Field Apparel, Knight and Day Apparel. Just type in Rutgers Rivals in promo code. It'll probably work. Doesn't matter what you're on. But yeah, for me and Alec, that's another edition of the Knight Report podcast. Signing off.